right. So what do we got? First agenda item, Frank. I think it's for roll call. So I'm gonna turn that over to you.
Frank, we can't hear you, just in case you're speaking. Frank, I'm not hearing anything from him, Daniel. I'm not sure. Let me see if he's sent a message.
All right. Well, maybe we'll hang out for a little bit while Frank gets his audio connected.
Okay, I'm sending him.
We called the meeting to order at 6:32, and now we're on to roll call. So that's you.
Okay. Chairman Harper.
I am present.
Vice Chair Lopez.
Present?
Okay. Mr. Salazar.
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez. Mr. Kaufman. You have a quorum, sir.
Oh, well, thank you, Frank. So I think the next item we have up is citizen comment, which is limited to 3 minutes. Michelle, I think you're monitoring the video, and
Yes.
I don't believe we have anyone signed in for citizen comment. Is that confirmed?
I don't see anyone additional other than IT, and I don't believe they would be speaking.
All right.
I don't have anybody.
Perfect. Well, we open citizen comment at 6:35, and we will close citizen comment at 6:36 p.m.
Okay.
So then next on the agenda item is executive session. And Frank, I'll defer to you if we have any items for executive session to discuss.
Not anything other than if you want to discuss any financials in executive session.
All right. Then, well, with that, I think we will probably not go into or not go into executive session. And I presume that from a parliamentary procedure perspective, we can bypass that versus going into it and immediately adjourning, unless y'all disagree.
No, that's perfect.
Perfect. All right. Well, Frank, then next up on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the April 16th meeting. And I'll give everybody a
Frank, I don't
second.
know.
Sure.
Did they get with the packet?
No, ma'am. I did not get to attach them. I I did not finish the end of the minutes because I was listening to the audio from the meeting, and
Okay.
I was having difficulty. I can get those out probably by the first of next week.
All right. All right.
We'll add them to the next meeting that we have for adoption.
All right. Yeah, because I noticed in my packet I didn't have them either. So, all right. So with that, we will not take action on the minutes, which I think then brings us to item number 5, which is consider impossible action on the financials. And I'll turn it over to Frank to give the presentation.
Very well. One second, please. Well, just bear with me. I'm going through some paperwork. Just sort of scattered. One second. Okay, the financials that we have are from April 30, 2020. Mr. Harper and Michelle and I were on a conference call with our fee accountant, Mr. Erlob, and he did send out a draft June financials, and they were stamped draft because he had not had time to review them. But going over the April 30th, 2020 balance sheet, which you should have in front of you, it's the combining of the low rent, the Section 8, and it goes line item by line item, given as the restricted funds, the accounts receivable, and the inter-program due date, which is the last line under current assets. As you can see that the low rent program has a due to from the 515 program, Section 8, of $69,000. In our conversation yesterday in our conference call, the figure is up to $72,000. And if I go down to the total current assets, it's $120,000. And after that are the property and the equipment valuations. You can see that all the way down to the bottom where it gives you the total assets for both programs. For low rent, it's $248,442.99. The Section 8 is $103,419.75. Go to the second sheet. It shows the liabilities and net position, and it shows both programs going all the way down, and it gives you the totals of the current liabilities for each of the two programs, low rent and 515. You can see the totals there. We have long-term liabilities, and respectfully, low rent is $14,557.15. The Section 8 is $367,364.46. And our net position, as you can read down towards the bottom, is the total net position is $233,885.84 for low rent. And correspondingly for the Section 8, it's a negative $263,944.70. The following sheet is the income statement. It combines both programs. starting with operating revenues, the low rent, and if at the top at the heading it says 10 months ending April 30th, 2020. The total operating expenses for low rent are $105,989.48. Our Section 8 is $127,741.20. Our operating expenses, the total administrative is $26,633.73, and the Section 8 is $26,863.40. On there, you see the administrative salaries, which is my expense, and the auditing fees, employee benefits, administrative, and the office expenses, and other admin expenses, which includes everything from fees we pay our different services that do our work. We have, I can't think of the name is EPS, the tenant tracker. It provides information to give to Section 8 to do the formulas and get us our payment, our subsidy payment. Under the total administrative section, you have the water, electricity, gas, and sewer, and you see the totals there for total liabilities under both programs. The low rent is $5,685, and the Pete Dresden side is $24,610.24. Maintenance labor, the next category has labor, materials, and contracts. Contracts, when it says contracts, it's the plumbers, electricians, and the professional people that we have to call in to do work on the plumbing, the HVAC, and any electrical problems that we have. And the employee benefits that you can see on there is under low rent $2,447, and under the Section 8 is $1,801. Now, this is 10 months, which includes some of the expenses are for our maintenance employee that we had before he died, and some of those monies are in those figures. I can't break them out exactly what they would be, but they're included in all these amounts. The next category is a property insurance, liability insurance, workman's comp, and all other insurance. You can see the totals for low rent is $3,149.27. Section 8 is $3,621.80. The property insurance is our TML carrier, who also carries liability, which includes board liability and the workman's compensation that's required. And all other insurance, I can't specify what the other insurance is, but some of that must be the health benefits that was attributed to the maintenance man. I receive no health benefits nor retirement benefits myself. The next line item category is payments in lieu of taxes. And that is primarily for low rent to HUD. That's $3,322.33. Under the Section 8, 515, you can see it's zero. So you see the total operating expenses and the total, the operating income. And it shows on the positive Low rent has $39,547.42. Section 8 has $40,899.67. Under other financial items, you see operating transfer in and transfer out. Uh, Transfer in is a minus deficit. That's uh, monies that have been used by Section 8, and uh, that's something that we're going to be addressing specifically next few months. As an aside, today when I received the HUD operating subsidy, I don't want to confuse you all, but I think uh, Mr. Harper and Ms. Lopez uh, understood from Mr. Erlab. For some reason, when the accounts were created at Wells Fargo, all the income is coming into the what's called the 433 fund, which is the Pete Dressen fund. Then periodically, I'm supposed to transfer whatever is the HUD operating subsidy over to the HUD fund. Uh, it hasn't been done immediately as we received the funding from HUD. Subsequently, what's happened over the period of months, not being funneled over right away, it's used up in the Section 8 expenses. Interest on the mortgage, the next line item, and that is the Section 8 where we have the loan. Low rent is paid off. We don't owe anything. We don't have a mortgage on it. It's $43,520. Replacement of equipment and some of that are capital expenses, like for example, compressors and that sort. You can see the low rent has been $4,635, and Section 8 is 1,200, and some of that belongs to that 19,000 deficit that should has been absorbed by the deficit that we see on the operating transfer in. If we go down to the net income or loss, the HUD program, the low rent, we have a income of $34,912.12. The Section 8 program is in a deficit. It's $5,417.83. The next page has the income statement operating fund. It shows you the first column after the line item um, is the current month, the year to date, what we budgeted, and the variance that we currently have. So you can go down the revenue on total operating revenues is $8,406.30. Year to date has been $84,749.48. We budgeted $107,500. There's a variance of $22,750.52. So we can go line by line, but if you just see the operating expenses, the total administrative expenses under the current month, the year to date, what we budgeted, where there's the variance of $11,000. We do not have any expenditures for tenant services. Historically, we haven't had any funds in there. Right. One of the main reasons we don't have a community room, and we don't have any kind of activities, we don't have any uh, programs coming in to benefit the seniors, which is usually this is for the low rent program. The next category are your utilities. You can see what the amounts by the current month, the year to date, when we budgeted, and the variance that we are at right now. It also uh, has the labor and the maintenance expenses and the employees' benefits, property insurance goes the same way. Compensated absences. On low rent, we don't have any. On the Section 8 program, that $3,222 was for the maintenance man, and that was part of the expenses that we had for him. It was passed on to his widow. So our total operating expenses all the way across, you can see the figures. The operating income or loss also shown, and we can see on the budget that we're $1,900 in the red, and the variance is $23,472.42.
Frank,
And then, yes,
Frank,
ma'am.
ask a quick question. So you mentioned in the employee benefits that $3,000 that was pay that we owed him because you said it went to his widow, or what
Yes,
was that for?
yes.
Vacation leave or sick leave,
Yeah,
right, Frank?
yes. Vacation leave.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Frank, I think it was a good overview for Commissioner Salazar. I actually got a head start on this. Organized a call. Yeah, I organized a call with our accountant. His name is Mr. Erlob. And Frank, I think it would be probably a good idea when we do our next board meeting to see if we can get Ron Erlob on the phone to kind of talk through in depth. Similar to what the briefing that I got on it, and it should be year end by the time we have that. And I think all the commissioners would benefit, um, from his observations, just given his deep knowledge of our finances, plus the fact that he does, however many other housing authorities across Texas at least. I did have some observations that I wanted to share with with the my fellow committee members if they're so inclined to tolerate me. So one of the things that you'll notice is I'm on the balance sheet right now, and you'll see under Section 8 NC program, there's a minus $1,300. And I had asked our accountant kind of what was behind that. And one of the things that he identified, and I think we're all somewhat aware of it, is that we have some checks that have been written, but checks that haven't been cashed that are ultimately associated with Frank's compensation. I personally would, like to make it a point between now and the end of our fiscal year to find a way to be in a spot that Frank can cash those checks. I don't want Frank working for free. The other thing that Frank mentioned is when you look underneath that low rent line, there's around $70,000 that's the due from piece. And what I thought was important to note is that's not just 1 year. That's the accumulation of multiple years of, as Frank said, depositing the checks into the Section 8 program and not transferring them immediately. So it would probably be nice for us to have a conversation with Ron Erlob about strategies to, over time, try to write that due to from. And then one of the requests that we had from HUD was to switch the apportionment of our central administration from 50-50, which we have it now, to something that is more reflective of the split between units. And I had asked Ron Erlob yesterday, and he submitted it to me. And if we looked at last year's filled units for Pete Dressen versus Charles Young, the split ends up being 45%. And so I'd like to, work with Ron Erlob on a way to appease HUD and get to that 44-56 split that they're wanting. So those are some of my immediate observations. There was some other stuff we discussed, and Michelle may want to bring those up.
I'll just say that I think those were definitely some of the same pieces or same things to highlight that I had as well. I think the other component is, while Daniel was saying we need to work with Ron on a way to correct what's already been happening with the deposit. I guess, Frank, you mentioned there's a deposit that came in yesterday or today. And are we,
today.
at this point, when are we going to be moving those funds so that that's corrected there?
Well, I'm going to just so that intercede. I don't know if you have more to say, Ms. Lopez, but I'm going to be looking at the bank account at least twice a week, and I know there's funds that are coming in. I do have a call in to the branch manager, one to inquire about that $100 fee that you charge us to, I think it's called evaluation of our account.
Right.
Do you recall the terminology?
It's your analysis fee.
Analysis, yes, analysis. And I also have a call into the San Antonio office to talk to the financial man there to see how we can have the incoming funds come directly to our HUD account instead of to the Pete Dressen account as it historically has been done. When whoever set all these accounts up in the beginning, I have no way to explain why it was done the way it has gone through these years. So I'm starting to work on some of those suggestions Mr. Erlob made. I also second Chairman Harper's idea to have Mr. Erlob on our next meeting from the call-in, because people who are familiar with the subject can break it down easy for all of us to understand what's happened and what needs to take place. And I think he did very well yesterday visiting with Mr. Harper and Ms. Lopez. At least I thought it was very insightful.
Yeah, I agree, Frank, completely.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And while we're at this, I just want to let you all know that I'm going through the applications, trying to housing applications. We've got 2 units ready to be housed in the at Pete Dressen. One's a 2-bedroom, another one's a 3-bedroom. And the little hesitation I have is a current unit family has a 2-bedroom, and they're really overcrowded. They've had birth of 2 children since they were housed, and I want to speak to them to see if one they're eligible to be transferred to the 3-bedroom vacant unit right now. But I need some assurances that one housekeeping is going to be something that's done well, because we've had a couple of problems in there. The mini blinds uh, uh, are broken. They have little kids, and they don't take care of their apartment. And I've
Isn't that
I
something
almost don't want to.
sign?
Pardon me.
Don't they sign something, Frank, about condition of the unit? The expectations for the condition of the unit?
What? Ask me again, ma'am.
Don't they
What did
sign?
you say?
Don't they
Are
sign
they
something that talks
find
about?
them?
Don't they sign a document when they lease, when they're ready to come in and
Oh,
rent, about the condition of the unit?
yeah, yes, and that's what I want to visit with them about. That it will make that transfer. That what they sign there is one is the keeping good housekeeping. This tenant's been there before I came on board, and
Okay.
it's been difficult in trying to when I go in for inspections to get them to straighten out their household.
Okay. Um,
Okay,
back to the Getting back to the financial, do we want to give Commissioner Salazar a chance if he had questions or comments about the financial report?
most certainly.
Well, the only thing that I would have to add it would be to echo what both Commissioner or Vice President or Vice Chair Lopez and Chair Harper had mentioned, was that we need to make sure that one, we make the property manager whole, make sure that everything that that we've got everything in place where nobody is just holding off paying themselves, but at the same time have the funds available to where that can happen. And I know out of an overabundance of responsibility that you feel, that's part of what you're doing. But I know that yeah, I definitely want to make sure that you get paid, because like Chairman Harper said, um, you're not working there for free. I know that a lot of what you're doing is out of the goodness of your heart. So that's why you're in this line of work. And at the same time, it makes sense to have the administrative costs spread over the entire operation in apportioned the way that it should be. I'm all in favor of that as well. And that's all I've got to say on the whole financial deal. But thank you very much for being vigilant.
You're welcome.
So Frank, when I went through the packet, so it looks like we have our financials, but then and those I don't recall have an action item, but then we do need to approve budgets for 20 and
Yes,
21 as well. So and those are action items, I think.
Yes.
yes. That's where I was flipping through the paperwork. Those were in there before the financials. One, we have to revise the 2019 uh, 2020 budget to what the actual expenditures were. And then we have to approve the new operating budget for year 2021. And then we have some write-offs that have to be approved. So if you want to go through that, I can get my papers back out and we can go one by one.
Yeah, we can start in whatever order makes. Oh, sorry about that. So we can start in whatever order makes most sense for you.
Okay.
And I presume we'd probably want to start with the 20 budget, have it laid out, and then we can talk about a vote, and then move on to the 21. I guess is what they are, financials.
You will see after the title page, it says consider a possible action budget revision, operating budget, and write-off accounts. Immediately after that, you'll see a PHA board resolution statement. It's a standard form that HUD has. Mm-hmm. If you all see it in front of you, it has a PHA name, Macau Housing Authority, our code. Then it says fiscal year beginning July 1, 2019. And it's resolution number 2020-1. And then it lists several boxes, and the one that has an X on says operating budget revision approved by board resolution on, and it would be today's date. And I've attached the low-rent operating budget that Mr. Erlab provided. It's several pages. I don't know that you want to take time to go through it or just take Mr. Erlab's expertise and what he put together for us.
Can you highlight what the changes are?
One second.
Changed.
Okay, the first page on the sheet that you see under operating income, you can see where line 7080600 says HUD PHA operating grant capital funds. You can see out there where the 22,000 was inserted in there, and that was part of the total budget. And as we go down, see.
So we just hadn't on that one, just added the capital improvement funds that they needed, or the grant funds that are there in last year.
Excuse me, what did you say?
So just in our initial budget approval, we didn't have the amount of the capital fund included.
No, I guess we never put it in there. It wasn't figured in when the budget was created.
Okay, thanks.
That was the main change, I believe. And there's a couple of schedules behind that showing the capital expenditures, like hot water heaters, on one page, and then it has a summary of the budget justification. And those are about it.
All right, Frank. This is the historical one, right? This is for June 2020. So this is all past, and this is what brought actual information.
Okay.
So that does require a vote
For that change.
So.
Okay.
So do I make? I think I can make the motion. I mean, I get it exactly right, but do we have a second to approve the operating budget?
To adopt board
Six.
resolution number 2020-01. Yes, second.
Yes, ma'am. That's it.
I'll second that.
So, all right, we have a second from Commissioner Lopez. Um, all in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Any
Mr.
opposed? Frank, I don't think I heard anybody opposed to it.
I didn't either. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I will
right.
be scanning this page to you for your signature. If not tomorrow, then Monday for sure.
All right, perfect. All right. Well, so this we'll approve
Now,
approve this motion.
thank you. The next one is the operating budget for 2020. If you go on the face sheet, again, it shows you our code, the resolution number, and the box that's checked off is the operating budget approved as, I guess today's the date for 2020, 2020-2021.
All right, and Frank, this one's still at the 50-50 split, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
What we can do is we can amend it later after if we do settle on the 45-55, I can have Mr. Lubb create the backup sheet, and I'll let HUD know about the change.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I would probably recommend that we consider approving this one with a contingent on Mr. Erlob coming back at our next meeting with a proposal to apportion it. So
Okay.
I'll probably ask Commissioner Lopez, unless there's questions. I guess I'll open the floor for questions on this item before I ask Commissioner Lopez for a favor.
And let me
All
just
right.
verify, Frank, that we are on board resolution number 2020-02. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I think, well, and honestly, do we want to, I mean, we know if he sent you the recommended proportion that each one should have, should we just adopt this with that recommended percentage of the split? You know, we may not be able to hash out the number figure, but we could at least say the expectation is that a corrected budget would come back with that corrected.
You can on your verbiage when you make the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works for me. So with that, would Commissioner Lopez like to make the motion?
Let me just see, does Commissioner Salazar have anything he wants to ask?
Well, I do. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing that either. But if there's anything that prevents us from like voting on some future number or anything like that, I would say we have the option to adopt the budget or the FY 2021, the 2021 budget, with the understanding that we can come back and do a budget amendment to include that apportionment later whenever those numbers come out. But I do like the idea that we can just go ahead and just say that it's adopted contingent upon our doing that reapportionment figure.
Okay, great.
All right.
So
do we consider that to be the motion, or do we want to have a formal motion?
I mean, Commissioner Salazar can move that forward to adopt the resolution with that wording.
Sure, I can do that. I can move that we adopt the budget contingent upon the
Allocation change?
right, the allocation change that we talked about at the, I believe the number was at 45-55 split.
Yeah, I think
That's correct.
it's gonna come out to like 44 and some change, but
Okay.
we can do 45-55.
I mean, whatever the will of the body is, I'm okay with that. But the 45-55 apportionment would be fine too. So
All right.
I'll move that.
Do we have a second to that motion?
I have a second. And just so that I can clarify to make sure that we are adopting the proposal, and it's resolution 2020-02, and we are approving the budget contingent upon the correction of the allocation of the HUD funding to 45% low rent, 55 section 8. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
That's what I got.
Okay.
All right. All in favor, say aye. I'll
Aye.
start aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
Any opposed? Frank, I hear none, and the motion passes.
Okay,
And
thank you.
I think the next one on our agenda is the write-offs, and I'll turn it over to you to lay that item out.
Okay, give me one moment. I shifted the paperwork and I'm trying to get to it. Okay. This is resolution 3/2020. It has the whereases and the resolved and it authorizes the authority to write off the following accounts. Under low rent, Charles Young Housing, we had one. It has the name on there, Nicole Ingram, $969. On the Section 8 program, we have four. The first one being $91.96. The second one is $44 even. The third one is $360, and the last one is $2,567. That's a combination of back rent, filing with the JP court, and paying the sheriff to go put the notice on the door of the tenant, and then for the law enforcement person to be there on the day they're supposed to be out, so that if I have to hire people to move the things out into the sidewalk, we wouldn't have any problems with the tenant. But in that case, the tenant moved most everything out, and I did have to get three gentlemen to help get a huge TV set out and a couple of large pieces of furniture that there was no way she would have been able to move by herself. So it's all totaled in the $2,567 that we're writing off. The total amount to the authority is $4,031. I have a misprint there. 4,000 and that'd be $38 and even. I put a decimal point 8 and a decimal and 2 zeros so you can see that. I'll have to correct that.
Yeah, let me see. We can add that up.
And that's a resolution I'm asking you all to approve.
Okay.
All right.
I can
Thank
add.
you, Frank.
88 cents.
Yeah, I think we're almost
All right. So I guess we need a motion on this. Michelle, I think you probably have. I don't have the motion number in front of me. When I printed it out, I forgot to include that page. So do you mind making the motion so we can get the motion number right?
Yes, I don't mind at all. Okay, so I move that we adopt resolution 2020-03, and that with the corrected amount total of $4,031.88.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, so if it's not a violation of some parliamentary procedure, I'm happy to second that motion.
Okay.
All right. And so with that, I guess I'd ask all in favor of the motion. I am.
I think you got an aye, and there was a hand raised from Commissioner
Okay,
South.
I said I.
all right.
We all do at the same time.
Any opposed? And Frank, I hear none, so this motion passes.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna fix this error that I have, and I'll send it to you for your signature.
Thank you, sir. And then
Thank
I think
you.
next on our agenda is the director's report.
Yes, and I went into that a little bit in some of my conversations with y'all earlier. If you bear with me, I'm going to shift paperwork so that I don't mess up what we've already done.
All right. Do you
Okay, I've got it in front of me.
All right, perfect. So the floor is yours.
Okay, the occupancy report for Charles Young. Right now, we're at 90%, and they want us at no less than 96%. Right now, we have one unit that's on the ready list. We're contacting applicants so that we can fill that one up. And I have two vacant units that I just got an okay from the contractor that's going to be doing this, and he will be starting on Monday. He'll be doing both units that are vacant, and so hopefully he says he can finish in a week and a half. So hopefully we'll have those two rented out by the time we get our next report. Next occupancy figures are for the Pete Dressen. We had Commissioner Rodriguez, contractor son, provide some labor, and we have 4 units that are on what's a make-ready status, meaning that they're not complete. They're in different stages of completion. What I'm going to do is go in and start doing one at a time to finish up what they were unable to do or didn't have time to do. I have 2 units ready for occupancy, and I mentioned that earlier. One is a 3-bedroom, and the other one is a 2. I want to talk to one of my present tenants who really should be transferred because of the size of his family to the 3-bedroom. And then I'm going to start going through the applications to rent the second one. Of course, that's going to create a vacancy. If the transfer is acceptable to both the tenant and me, then we'll have another unit that we're going to have to work on to get ready for occupancy. And one of the units that has historically, and I say that before I got here, was used as a storage shop type room. It was adjusted, and we we talked about it with, at least I talked with Mr. Florence. He said we need to recategorize that so it's not counted as a living unit and put it into a shop. So I need to go through the paperwork. I'm trying to get that done until we can get ready.
Frank, it'd probably be good just to document in case anybody ever comes back that Claris is doing this for, so he's not actually.
Yes, sir.
It cut out. So just to be sure that's clear that he is doing this work pro bono for us.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, it's true. So that's for the occupancy report. That's the report that I have now. The maintenance issues. The biggest cost has been the HVACs. Right now, it's air conditioning, and Mr. Erlon did say that we have reserves that we should hit up rural development to release those funds so we can use it as a due back the payments that we've made from public housing. Take the reserves and use those amounts to go to back to public housing.
And Frank, didn't Erlob say that we got like $25,000 of federal CARES money?
No, 5,000. Yes, 5,000.
Oh, 5,000.
It's 5,000. Yeah, and that's only for the low rent program.
Yeah. And does that have any stipulations for the use of the funds?
Well, Mr. Erlob seems to think we can use it for just about anything, but in reading, I have to tie the expenditure to something that would pertain to the CARES Act. For example, the cleaning that I'm going to have to do for those make-readies, after they're make-ready, I have to make sure the floors are clean and the bathtub and everything else is and I'm going to use those funds to pay a cleaning person to come in and thoroughly clean those. And as well, I'm thinking of buying a sprayer and get some ingredients to do sanitizing, where you go and you spray the units. We have had at Pete Dresden, we have had people with COVID. Again, I know that the money that HUD is setting aside for the CARES program is supposed to be for HUD programs, but I can buy an extra liquid to use in the sprayer to go and spray those units for those individuals are living that had COVID.
All right. Yeah, it may be interesting to see what Ron Erlob thinks is, eligible use of that $5,000.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we can ask him that question as well.
Okay. And then I've got capital fund listed, and one is I got on there the contract to make ready, which I'm going to start next week, and there was some exterior work that has to be done in some of the units when REACT came. Some of the eaves, the hardy boards have fallen off. I'm going to use some of that money to start putting them back on. And also, I'm going to need some there's some bad limbs on the trees that surround the units. I'm going to get I've got a landscape tree cutter that's coming in also on Monday to visit with me so I can show him what I need done and what he's going to charge me, and that'll go against the capital fund monies as well. That ends my report, sir.
All right. So, my fellow commissioners, do we have questions for Frank on this report?
The only thing I would just say is I realized that we are, it looks on our budget like we're 18,000 behind budget this year when we look at the April figures
Yes.
for the Section 8 for Pete Dressen. And so I think that's probably due to maybe the 2 months where we weren't able to even maybe work on make readies and getting that done. Is that about right?
I'm got my fingers crossed.
Okay.
You know what to say about best laid plans, but mice and men often go astray, and that's happened quite a bit.
Okay.
But yes, ma'am, I'm gonna. That's where I'm starting to work on working with Wells Fargo and trying to talk to San Antonio HUD on what I need to do to have the funds coming and go directly into the public housing account.
Okay.
So yes, ma'am. If that answers your question.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like that's probably it, and we're getting through. And when do you expect that we'll be able to move people forward and get them into these vacant units?
The units, the ones that Charles Young, the low rent. I've got the applications as I may have as I have mentioned, and you may remember. Oftentimes I call people in and they either don't have their deposits ready, or when we do a background check, something comes up. So that takes time. I got to make them. Have them make an appointment to come in and see me, and we go through the process. And I may waste a week or maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, but Frank, if we have the contractor doing the make readies, and he's told you a week to 10 days, it seems like we should start our process. Knowing that by the end of this month, we're ready to move somebody in.
Yes, sir.
And then we can just hold the contractor's feet to the fire, since that's what we're paying them to do.
Yes, sir. That's true. It was all lined up like that, but in between all that, I've got problems with the units. I've got the people that I've got to get after to bring their payments in, the rent payments, get them on time. Monthly I have a delinquent list. I keep hounding on them, asking when I'm going to be able to get the money. It's been difficult with a lot of people being cut on their hours, and either that or not being able to work because the place of business where they were employed closed down or temporarily closed. So it's one thing or the other. But you're right. I'm going to start trying to be more diligent than I have.
Oh no, and I didn't mean that directed at you. I meant it more just as a general. Now that we're using these contractors, and they should have I would think a pretty good ballpark, so we could start that process. Understanding you've got 15 other things to balance in any given day at a minimum.
Yes, sir. Okay. I've noted that, and now I'll be working on that. And also, before we end the call, I want to thank you and Ms. Lopez for arranging that call with Mr. Alab. I think that was beneficial, not only for me, but of course for you all to get a better understanding of what has happened.
Yeah, and I figure we're paying him, so we can take the presentation off of your desk and we can put it on his, free up a little bit of your time too. So,
yeah, I'll go for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, do we have any more comments on the director's report from anybody on the call?
I don't have anything.
No more comments.
All right. Well, Frank, so I guess that concludes the director's report, and the next agenda item is to adjourn. So
Thank you all for your time.
And so it's, I guess for the record, Frank, it's 7:37 p.m.
All right. Very well.
All
Well,
right.
have a
Well,
good day.
thanks
you.
everyone. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.